I want to know what you thought about, I don't even want to call it an apology. I don't know who the hell came up with that idea for him to go on video for a little over a minute. He never acknowledged Cassie Ventura by name. He never apologized to her at all. He talked about he was in a really messed up place, et cetera, et cetera. But the level of contrition or whatever, clearly in a lot of people's eyes, was more about getting caught than it was about what you had actually done. And most importantly, what really, really rubbed me the wrong way is that you were on the record categorically denying any truth to the specific allegations that were levied against you. So why in God's name would you try to come out and apologize thereafter when the very thing that you were apologizing for is what you emphatically and adamantly denied in terms of specifics?
I don't think anyone in his team advised him to do that. I feel like it was a knee-jerk, maybe something he decided to do singularly. I cannot imagine that his attorney, publicist, anyone that is still working for him would have thought that that was a good idea to do. That said, I agree. I just thought that it was just, I don't even think he believed the words coming out of his mouth. I didn't see any attachment to emotion. He never mentioned her by name, which I also thought was very peculiar. And I thought that it also was strange that you had just said days ago that the truth would come to light. And, you know, you're making all of these, you know, proclamations that you're innocent. And now that the video's coming out, the video's out, now you're walking it back and you were in a dark place and you've gone to rehab and you're truly sorry. Yeah, I'm not buying it. And I don't think any of his fans are.
Now, remember, there's noise about how speculation that he may have paid $50,000 for the video. Has anyone been able to find evidence of that at all? I mean, you cover the hip hop industry better than most. You've been on top of this story from day one. Have you seen any evidence or heard any evidence to that?
So where that's coming from is in her actual 50-plus page lawsuit. She says that he paid $50,000 to obtain the footage. So I think that's why it's all over the internet now, because people are connecting the dots to what incident it was. We didn't know at the time what she was referring to. Now it's like, oh, this must be the incident that she's referring to, that he paid $50,000. But no, but the hotel, and the hotel, by the way, is no longer in existence in LA. But no one has spoken, you know, out from the hotel or anyone saying that it's true or not. So it's just in her lawsuit.
And I'm saying to myself, okay, if you paid the $50,000, okay, then that means you have possession of the video. So where did this video come from? Do we have any idea, any indication where this particular video came from?
This is just me. I feel like it either was the manifestation of the raid. They found this at his home, and someone put it out there. It's very telling that it went to CNN. Of all the people who lately have been putting out news first, i.e. TMZ, that it came from CNN. So that to me was telling that it was given to them specifically. That's just my journalistic hunch. But I feel like it seems as though this might have been found at one of the residences.
You mean when they raided his home, Homeland Security raided his home in Los Angeles and Miami? You think so? In other words, understand, let's dissect that for a second. Understand what that would mean. What that would mean is that you got a hold of the video, and rather than destroyed it, you kept it. That doesn't seem to make no sense.
And I want everyone to understand that this is just my theory.
Yes.
I am not saying, because I've already said to you that the hotel is no longer there. Right? Right?
Yes.
So who else had a copy? If you paid for it and there's a copy, and let's just assume no other copies existed. You paid, where did it come from? And why is it now on the internet for the world to see?
After seeing what we saw, you've got critics all over the country, including myself, that are appalled by what we saw, obviously. I played earlier where my teammate, my colleague at ESPN, Ryan Clark, on his podcast, The Pivot, just went in on them and called them, you know, a few names that I'm not going to repeat right now. A lot of people believe he should be arrested. He should have been arrested. Could you explain to people who don't understand why he hasn't been arrested?
So every state has a statute of limitations for assault and sexual assault. You know, there's different levels. For this particular crime, the statute of limitations has already passed. And so the Los Angeles Police Department did put out a statement explaining that. And I think they also wanted people to understand that based on what they saw, they would have started an investigation and arrested him probably immediately because a crime was committed based on what they saw, but they cannot. It is the statute of limitation has passed. So that being said, he is now being tried in the court of public opinion. He will not be tried in a criminal court for this particular instance. Now, do I think other things may come to light?
Yes.
I do.
There's no question.
I think
Homeland Security at your house for a reason. There's no question.
And Stephen, if you remember, this is the exact same chain of events that happened with R. Kelly. There was a RICO raid on his homes, and next thing we know, there was an indictment.
Wow. And he's in jail for 30 years, minimum. There you have it. I've said that there's no coming back from this if you're P. Diddy. The fact that there's video out there, which in my estimation was worse than the Ray Rice video from years ago, former player with the NFL's Baltimore Ravens, I don't think this is worse than that. You know, to snatch her by the neck, throw her to the ground, kick her not once but twice, throw a glass vase at her head, drag her down the hallway. There's no coming back from this.
Yeah.
You cover the hip hop industry. We've seen all types of stuff happen. We've seen, you know, America be the land of second chances when it comes to folks in that industry and beyond, of course. Am I wrong in my assessment that I don't know if P. Diddy can come back from this?
No, you're not wrong in your assessment. The allegations and the lawsuit was one whole thing that was already getting him cut from any deals he had, and people were severing ties. This video, in my opinion, is the nail in the coffin, and we will not see him doing, if he is still free to walk around, he will not be working in the same capacity that he was, if in any capacity, in Hollywood and in the entertainment industry.
In the entertainment industry, even in the hip hop industry, you got record companies that say, hey, man, you can make some money. So you go out there and make a record or whatever. No, you may not get any endorsement deals and stuff like that. But you're saying even a record company, even, you know, even if he owned his own label, somehow, some way still managed to do that. And settling all of these lawsuits that seem to be coming down the pike. I think we can predict more is coming, no question about that. You're trying to say even under those circumstances, there's no way he's coming back from this.
Diddy's a mogul. He has a lot of money, so he can continue to do whatever he wants to. In terms, I mean, we're in an industry, in a time now where people can put out music on Spotify. They can put it out however they want to independently. I think he can be an independent anything he wants to, and he has enough money to fuel that. But will he have the same fanfare, reception from people? No. His image is tarnished. His name has been sullied, and his legacy, I feel like, has been forever ruined, and there's no going back. Have you
seen anyone in the hip hop industry that has gone near him since all of this stuff has come out? I haven't seen anybody speak up for him.
TMZ did share the day before, the day after the surveillance footage was released. And it is, I'm not sure where he is. It looks like he's in Miami, where he's been since the lawsuit in November. He's walking down the street with two men. One of them is Groovy Lou, who's one of his longtime friends, has worked for him for a long time. And the other gentleman is a rapper named Los, who was a part of Bad Boy and was signed to his label at one point. I would imagine that behind the scenes, some of his friends like Stevie J, who came out and spoke out in support of him, are still a part of his small circle, but I don't necessarily think that some of the other friends he had in the industry are attaching themselves in the same way they had been and want to be publicly seen with him.
Last question, strictly from a PR perspective. We know where Cassie Ventura stands. And we understand that, and Lord knows she probably has more to say because she was with him for a while, and so she clearly has more to say. Is there anybody else in your estimation that we should keep our eyes on, that you believe is going to have a lot of things to say about P. Diddy in a very unpopular light moving forward?
So Aubrey O'Day, who was a member of his group, Janity Kane, has been vocal for a very, very long time. She said a lot of the things that she intimated that there was some abuse and some things happening behind the scenes a while ago, and people just weren't willing to listen to her and didn't want to believe, I think, the things that she said. I think now she's going to have an audience. And I think she's going to be talking more. She's even said, if you follow her on social media, that she has so much that she's going to reveal. And she didn't sign an NDA, and she did not take her publishing deal. So
wow,
she's not going to be restricted.
Jasmine, really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being on with me. I really, really appreciate it.